back, Kitchen Table Wargaming fans. It is finally time for another battle report. It's been a little while, probably will be a while before the next one, so I hope y'all enjoy this one. We are going to be playing the Drukhari versus the Grey Knights, and it is gonna be fun. In this particular game, it's going to be me playing against myself, so, you know, there won't be any crazy interactions from the opponent, but we're going to have a good time with this. So, we got the Crazy Succubus, we got the Grandmaster Dread Knight, and we're going to have a good time going over the army list next. Alright guys and gals, we're going to start off with the Grey Knights, because they're brand new. What we have here, we actually have the Grandmaster Dread Knight as the Warlord, first to the fray, spending the command point for him to also have Unyielding Anvils so that everybody gets the OBSEC if they're near him. Taking along a strike squad because it's a patrol. They are halberds and stormbolters, and a venerable dreadnought. I'm actually wanting to use them with the multi-melta and realized I had not painted the multi-melta, so I'll be 5 points under for this list. That's okay, 995 points. So we'll have the combat weapon, Stormbolter, and then he has the assault cannon. On the Dread Knight, he has, I forgot to mention, the Sigil of Exigence, because why not be able to teleport your Dread Knight? It's fun. He also has Dread Knight Teleporter, so he can do the teleport shenanigan if I felt like I needed it. He also has Gate of Infinity, and I want to say Sanctuary. Might be wrong. This silencer that I kit bashed is actually going to be the Flamer because I was a couple points over, although I just realized having to change his gun means I can take that with a silencer instead. So never mind, it's WYSIWYG after all. Huzzah! These guys are sword bearers, so we get the +1 to the wounding benefit. I have to reread that because there's so many new rules. It's great. But then I'm also taking a Rapier's patrol. Bring along Grandmaster Drago. He's gonna be a blast. He has the Empiric. Oh man, can't remember the names of the new things. The one that helps with wounding on a target within 18 inches, and then he also has Vortex of Doom. One more strike squad back here, just regular old halberds and stormbolters, and then I'm bringing 2 squads of interceptors. They are as they appear. So a variety of weapons mixed in. This team does have a silencer in there, and then this team back here is just all going to be regular stormbolters with their varieties of nemesis weapons. So lots of shenanigans available with his list. Like I said, after realizing my WYSIWYG correction there, I get to be WYSIWYG correct there, and it all works perfectly. So this will be fun. This is exactly 1,000 points. Playing with the new rules, we're going to see how all that goes. It's going to be a blast. And we're back with the Drukhari. Also 2 patrols. Also the first time that I get to show off my new and improved paint schemes on my vehiculars. Merlin's Grimdark painting service painted these guys up for me. Painted all my vehicles, all my transports, and my raiders as well. I mean Ravagers. When I grabbed my box of army that I had already kind of assembled, these are the ones in it, and these are the ones I wanted to take in my 1,000-point game. So let's go through the list. We have the Crazy Succubus, chains, razor flails. She has Precision Blows Warlord trait. She gets the Dark Lotus Toxin for extra strength. She has the +1 attack combat drug. And the Precision Blows, if you have forgotten or hadn't heard, does the mortal wounds equal to the amount of damage, which is now damage 2, on any 6 to hit. And she's going to be swinging 14 times every time she swings. So she should be a lot of fun. Then I guess that's really it for her, and her patrol is going to be Cult of Strife. This front squad of witches that have basing done all around. This crazy little Hecatrix, that's what we've decided it's her, has Morvane's Agonizer. And then this other squad is just regular witches, nothing special with them. And these front 5 are Blood Brides actually. So there's some Blood Brides with Morvane's Agonizer. And that's it for them. That's the whole patrol right there. Then, go over here, we have Drazar, the Master of Blades. Yes, he is here in the color. Then you've got 2 squads of racks for the troops. They're just bare bones, rack blades, and nothing else. Then you got 2 squads of Incubi, 5 in each squad. We will have 2 Venoms. They each have chain snares and grisly trophies. And then we have 2 Raiders, Dark Lances. The one with the red hair also has grisly trophies. I had like that 5 points to try to figure out where it had to go. So this list for the Drukhari 1,000 points on the nose, starting with 5 command points. And the Grey Knights list, I'm only starting with 3 command points. So there's the breakdown with that. This should be a wild ride of a game. Be back for the mission and deployments next. Here we are, folks. This is mission number 31, Rise of the Machine Spirit. You'll have 2 objectives, 1 in each table quarter. 2 objectives on the other side, 1 in each table quarter. This has one of those funny little deployment zones, so that's the center of the map, 9-inch bubble that is no man's land. And the Drukhari goes this direction, around to there, and then straight off the end, so they've got that quarter, same thing on this side for the Grey Knights. So how we've deployed is we have interceptors here within 12 of that objective there. We've got the Dread Knight, Warlord, so he can give the interceptors OBSEC within 6 inches of him, so that's kind of handy. Strike squad for the sword bearers is over here. Interceptors inside this building, and this building reminds me, it's a great time to point out that this terrain is all created by and from the Ratworks. Check that guy out on Facebook, is where most of his stuff is at. He does have some pieces that he's selling in on eBay. Oh, I've got the barricades inside that building. I knew they were somewhere, and it just occurred to me that they're in the wrong place. Well, we'll get the barricades out, and I'll put them on the field somewhere. It'll make it more interesting. Yeah, so we'll put a barricade down there, and we'll put a barricade on this side of the board. That was funny. This whole time I've been sitting here thinking I'm missing some crazy cool pieces. Here's a look at it before I stick it onto the table. And, this barricade, I might have to leave it off for a minute because I'm not real sure where I should put it. But very cool stuff. I love the terrain. It's just a lot of fun. The rest of the deployment is the Venerable Dreadnought over there in that corner. And I've got a strike squad for rapiers and deep strike along with Drago. So they're waiting to come in at a later time. For the Drukhari, we have a boat with witches. We have a boat pointing at the ground because I forgot about the base that I needed to fix, with Drazar and 5 incubi sitting there. Those are 2 venoms. We've got this raider that's sort of obscured is the one with the succubus. Got the blood brides and 5 incubi with her. This one has 2 squads of racks in it, and they are obviously in a position where they can get on any of the objectives. And that's that. So everything has been deployed. You now see what is going on. We'll run over secondaries real quickly. The Drukhari today have Take Them Alive, which I've never really used, but when you don't do a ton of shooting, you can do some chip damage and then finish things off in melee and score points. Retrieve Octaria's data is Rod, and Stranglehold, because why not? We've got Speedy OBSEC, and especially if they go first. Even if they don't, they have ways to kill things pretty well. Then for the Grey Knights, engage on all fronts, because we will be. Raise the banners and Psychic Interrogation, which I realize Psychic Interrogation might not score me the most points, but they're the Grey Knights. They need to be psychering and stuff, because that's what they should do. So here we go. Roll off. Dun dun dun. Oh, I got stuff in the way. Well, the Drukhari clearly are going first this day. Could be a problem for the Grey Knights. Could be a problem. And I don't have warp shaping built into this list for the Grey Knights, and I'm aware of that. I'm not choosing to start in the Tide of Shadows and stay in the Tide of Shadows. I'm choosing to stay in the one that does the extra range and then mortal wounds for nemesis weapons. I'm just going to rock that the whole game. That is my game plan. And yeah, here we go. Drukhari, turn 1, next. End of the Drukhari, turn 1. Here's what we did. This venom with witches moved up, sitting on the objective, trying to be far enough away that Mr. Dread Knight would have to come and commit to this direction to be able to give the interceptors OBSEC, because the interceptors would have to kill the venom first, then charge, and then kill the witches inside in order to take away the objective. So the idea being, if he's going to commit over here, that leaves a little bit of playroom in the middle up there for the incubi and Drazar, which are sitting in this venom out of line of sight, so they'll have to move around to get shots in on it. And Grandmaster has to be aware, or me, that there's a kind of a large brick right there waiting to do whatever the witches don't do over here. Likewise, everybody stayed inside this boat back here, so the blood brides, the succubus, and incubi are all still sitting in that, holding the objective. I forgot to mention with this mission, nobody's allowed to teleport strike or deep strike in within onto an objective marker. So these objective markers actually do provide a little screening on their own, which is kind of odd. Well, it's not odd, it's just different. So these racks got out, get on that objective, screening that corner out. This raider moved forward enough to be able to get line of sight on some things like the dreadnought, and then proceeded to roll ones and ones again, even though I'm using Cabal of the Black Heart, which I don't think I mentioned earlier. This guy got his shot to go through, no way to save against it with him, and then he rolled a 1 for damage, so it's 1 plus 3, or I mean it's 3 plus d3, so it turned into 3 whole wounds because Dreadnought's now reduced damage because we're cool again. We shot all the poison from that venom into this squad of interceptors, and the one, that we needed a 2-up to save on failed it. I guess I couldn't have given that to him because he wasn't in the cover technically, so we'll put that marker on him because he was in cover, so he needed a 2-up and failed. The other venom tried to shoot at these interceptors through the window and through the hole in the wall there, and didn't do any damage. It is what it is. So that is the end of the turn. They did accomplish Stranglehold, holding all 3 objectives over on that side, and completed a rod with those rackety racks in that back corner. So a rod for the first turn is over. And yeah, we'll be back. Grey Knights, turn 1 next. And I don't know. This is going to be fun. This will be a very intriguing game. So we'll be back in just a minute. The end of the Grey Knight's turn is here. So interceptors move forward. They cast a smite and did 3 damage on their venom. And then the Grandmaster cast this Empiric Amplification, which I hadn't read super closely, but man, that spicy. It turns any psi weapon allocated to a model in that unit, any attack made with a psi weapon, you add 1 to the damage, which makes a psi cannon turn into damage 3 when shooting at something like a venom. So the psi cannon shot and killed the venom. The psi lancer shot into and took a wound or 2 off of the raider back there. This squad of strike marines shot and killed the witches, no surprise. And that was all they did, but they stayed within 6 of him. He came back a little bit because of the incubi and Drazar coming in. He would rather let somebody like this catch that attack. And I don't know, Drazar can easily make that, I'm sure, if he wants to go into the Dread Knight. So we'll see what happens there. Stayed back here a little bit. These guys raised a banner, so they did nothing else. Over here, Dreadnought moved up, did a smite, did I think it was 2 wounds on the raider. Or no, he cast Armored Resilience on himself for the -1 to wound. The interceptors from inside this building shunted up to here. Well, they just moved up to here and did a smite, did 2 wounds on the raider, and then shot at it, did another wound. He shot at it, did another wound. It took him down to 5 wounds left on the raider with all of our shootings combined. Then he, right here, and we did spend a command point for the Shadow of Undying Legends, which is Wisdom of the Ancients, but it does last until the next command phase, I noticed, which is kind of neat. So re-rolling 1s to hit is what we did with that. So in the shooting, we re-rolled 1s because we were within 6 inches here, and then we charged him. He rolled an 8, so he got all the way around to the back of the raider. This interceptor squad from back here at the edge of the building needed a 9, rolled a 4, so I spent 1 on the command re-roll. They made it with exactly a 9, and then we made sure that we were within 6 of him, so we kept that aura. Yeah, it's a 6-inch aura. I was about to think it was only 3, and then I would have cheated. So that left me down to 1 command point, which I spent for Deadly Efficacy to get the exploding 6s. Oh, exploding 6s in melee. And then, of course, we're in the tide where any 6s to hit cause mortal wounds. 6s to wound do mortal wounds, sorry. So between the mortal wounds and just the sheer number of attacks, plus rerolling 1s to hit, we killed the Rack Squad. We killed the Raider because he's just a monster with his combat weapon. And one rack that was still inside the raider died. The other 4 got out, and there are at least 2 on the point, which is annoying. It's gonna happen, but it's annoying because, of course, they're OBSEC. So we took some points back. We lost some points. It is what it is. So now it is going to be Drukhari turn next. Although I have to say, it's rather grim already. And I still have a strike squad and Drago to come down. So yeah, but there are lots of incubi, still have blood brides and a succubus, and I'm sure they're going to make short work of that side of the board. So I mean, it's clearly not over, but it's kind of interesting. I don't know if there's enough OBSEC left for the Drukhari to deal with everything the Grey Knights have. It's kind of a bad matchup actually. So we'll be back. Drukhari turn 2 will be next. Alright folks, it was clearly turn 2 because the Drukhari love turn 2. Here's what we did have happen. Mr. Drazar advanced, goes through the building. He's about 2 inches away from the Dread Knight. These guys just come through, they don't even need the advance, they're still an inch or 2 away from the interceptors. In the combat phase, 5 6s were rolled by the Incubis. That would put them at a AP of 4, which means there is no save against such things, and they're 2 damage weapons. So all the rest of their attacks didn't matter, and these just killed my interceptors. Mr. Drazar, with his fight twice, and no interrupting happening, and no shooting at the Dread Knight, means that he killed the Dread Knight in his 2 fights. It did take him both attacks, or both sets of attacks, to kill the Dread Knight, but that's how it goes. That Dread Knight is dead. He is no more. So, 1 strike guy got shot by a Venom over there and failed 1 save and took 1 wound. So that's what happened to them. On this side of the board, the Incubi got out of that Raider, raised the banner. Did Rod over there. On this side, Succubus, Witches, they all came out here to play. The Witches killed all but 1 guy, and he was wounded on 1 wound. And then the Succubus killed him with 10 mortal wounds in her first, round of combat. That was all there was to that. I did spend for them to reroll wounds. Didn't end up mattering because they only failed like 2, and one of those was a 1 that you reroll because of the Succubus. So silly. These racks moved away. They actually should have ended up closer to the building edge, but that's not the point. They're going to get into the other quadrant soon, and then they will complete Rod on another side of the board. So that was a pretty substantial punch. The Drukhari, don't ever count them out. That's all I got to say. Have left 1 squad of strike marines over here. That's all I have left on the board for the... Oh, and the Raider, that was the other thing. The Raider over there, the one still in the game, shot, failed a wound, so we spent the command point to reroll that. Did 6 damage, reduces to 5, but that Dreadnought only had 5 wounds left, and he died. So that is how all of that stuff played out. You know what I just realized? I didn't roll any of their ignoring wounds. So I'm going to roll, because potentially that Dreadnought, is still alive. Let's see if he can ignore... he does. He ignores 2. So forgive me, folks. I finally remembered. The Venerable Dreadnought. He has 2 wounds left. So he's still in the corner over there. Nobody would have attacked him because they needed to kill all the strike marines, and that's how that ended up. So I'll put the Dreadnought back. He's not actually dead. Which is probably better for the Drukhari because then they can kill it in combat and get more points for it. So as it stands, here's where we're at. Take them alive. They picked up 3 for the Dread Knight, 1 for the Interceptor squad, and 1 for the other Interceptor squad. Completed Rod 1 more time, and did complete Stranglehold once again. I just forgot to write that down. Picked up 10 on primary. So there's where we're at. I thought it looked really good for the Grey Knights at the end of the last turn. It suddenly doesn't look as good, but I do have more strike squads and Drago, and of course that Dreadnought is not actually dead. So he'll be back there, and then we'll see what we can do. So we'll be back in just a minute for Grey Knights turn 2. Well, folks, the Grey Knights whiffed on that turn. So we did do some shooting, took a wound off of Mr. Drazar, killed 3 Incubi, but man, failed the charge. Well, they're not charging, they were going to hold the objective. He failed his charge, This squad came in, took 3 wounds off of the succubus through the doorway there, but failed to get their smite to go off. They failed to get their smite to go off. He failed to get his smite to go off. It was magnificent. In the charge phase, well, in the shooting phase, this guy was able to kill all but 1 witch, and then he charged her and killed her. He does claim that objective. The succubus down here is just outside of the range of that objective marker and not holding it. So the Grey Knights did take that back, but he's not obsec, and he's going to die to something. They failed their charge. They were going to charge the succubus, which seems insane. However, it's the Grey Knights. They're kind of wild in combat now, so I thought there was a pretty decent chance. But yeah, man, what a not exciting turn that ended up being. So now we're going to get to see Drazar fight Drago. That should be kind of fun, actually. But the points-wise, this game is not going to go well for the Grey Knights, and they're probably going to die after this turn, let's be completely honest. It's just the way it's going to be. So we'll be back in just a minute for the Drukhari, turn 3, and it'll be close to the end of the game for these guys. We'll be back. Well, the Drukhari are deadly, of course. So, Drazar comes in. He killed Drago, only by 1 failed save, and he did have to fight twice, but he definitely killed him. The 2 Incubi killed, well, actually, I take it back. The Venom took out 1 strike member, and the 2 Incubi killed 3 more, left him by himself, and Drazar had to fight twice to kill Drago, so wasn't able to pile in to hit him, so he just consolidated afterwards. Consolidated towards him, but not into him. He hit back and killed both of the Incubi with his 2 damage halberds, so that was kind of cool. And of course he's obsec, so we still hold that point. These strike marines over here got obliterated almost by the succubus, and then they took her last 2 wounds off and killed her. Very nice of them. Over here, the Racks came back. They did nothing except lose 1 to an explosion from this dude who died again from the Raider. Except this time we made sure we rolled for it, and he did die, and he did actually explode, and he killed 1. So that was cute. What happened? Oh, and then the Incubi over here embarked into the Raider before it flew across, and it's just trying to get us closer to where we can complete Rod in various corners. And now that the poor Grey Knights are down to only 3 dudes left on the table, it's probably not going to take long. But it is going to be the Grey Knights' turn next. They will score a point or 2. Take them alive. We got another 3 for killing Drago in melee. And another stranglehold? No, not a stranglehold, because we walked off of an objective. I still forgot to write this one down. And no Rod this turn. So we'll be back in just a minute. We're in turn 3, so we're going to Grey Knights. Turn 3 next. Well, that was quick. We moved back with the strikes. They did not fail morale. They both rolled right at the max, but they didn't fail it. We smote and killed Drazar, the Master of Blades, with our mighty psychics, because we couldn't do him last turn. We got him off this turn. And then we shot and did a wound on this, because that was the only thing really to see and shoot at. That was it. Potent? I think not. Yeah. So, Drukhari are going to win. I will kind of play out / count out the points here in a minute, and we'll figure out how it all ends. We'll be back in a minute. It's going to be turn 4, technically, for the Drukhari. Alright, folks. It seems I might be a little bit more accustomed to playing the Drukhari than the Grey Knights. Poor guys. Drukhari, the Incubi got out, they advanced, then they made a bomb 9-inch charge into the Strike Marines here. This guy was shot and killed by a combination of Venom and then Raider, because the Venom didn't do it. These guys uber killed those 2 Strike Marines that were left, and that's the end of the game. So, in turn 5, they would have done Rod 1 more time, would have held all 3 again, did Stranglehold a couple more times. We missed Stranglehold 1 turn, so we're short on that one. We take them alive, we got 9, Rod we got 8. and a full 45 on primary, so it ended up being 74 to only 25 points for the Grey Knights. Psychic Interrogation, don't do that unless you've got throwaway characters. And Engage on all fronts didn't really work out. Raised Banners got a few points. Didn't play the way I thought it would. Kind of surprising. So at the end of the game, a Venom, a Raider, 5 Incubi, and 3 Raggedy Racks were all that were left. But it was enough to overwhelm and defeat the Grey Knights. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Let me know what I did wrong. I'm sure there was plenty. You can see I didn't spend many command points for the Drukhari. Spent a lot on the Grey Knights. So next time, might just run single patrol. That would change some things a little bit. Give me more command points for the Grey Knights. I don't know. I'm sure there's plenty of things that could be done. Yeah, I need to play and practice with these Grey Knights. They are excellent. So once again, thank you to the Ratworks for the buildings, terrain, lovely stuff. I really like it a lot. Thank you to Merlin's Grimdark Painting for the cool paint jobs on my Venoms and Raiders and transport vehicles. And then GameMat.eu for the battle mats. Hope y'all enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to play. Haven't played it in a long time. Yeah, well, that is the end of that game. 74 to 25. Oof, that was rough. It was fun to play, though. It's been a long while. Hope y'all enjoy it, and we'll be back as soon as we can for another one.